I would like to call the City Council meeting for June 27th, 2018 to order. At this time, we're going to have our normal moment of silence. You know, we have so many great things going on. I just have to share a personal note that my daughter was married this weekend, and we had people from literally coast to coast, from Alaska and California and New York, and it was wonderful to hear, and they were all stayed downtown, and the wedding was at the Figgy. But more importantly, everybody, actually a couple of people were looking at apartments. They loved Davenport so much. It was so much activity going on, so many wonderful things in our community. Live at 5 at the RME and events happening all over. So, you know, sometimes we think about the challenges we face, but we need to, in fact, celebrate the wonderful community that we have and think about all the positive things that are going on in our community. With that, let's take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Alderman Tompkins, would you lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Alderman Tompkins. Jackie, would you please call the roll?
Ambrose.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Rawson.
Here.
Dickman. Here. Mattson.
Here.
Grip. McGinnis.
Here.
Kluel.
Here.
Tompkins.
Here.
Dunn. 9 present, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. And again, I want to wish you a good evening. And as we begin this meeting of our City Council, I would again like to welcome all those in attendance and those who are viewing the meeting on television or by way of the internet. We respectfully welcome your comments and opinions, and please keep in mind that as you talk to the Council, you are also sharing your thoughts with fellow Davenporters and with viewers throughout the region by way of our TV broadcast. We are happy that you're participating in your city government and ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport an even greater place for all of our citizens. For the children, adults, seniors, and families in our community, those in attendance and those watching at home, I thank you for joining us. At this time, we ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and other electronic handheld devices, as they can be disruptive and interfere with the audio system here in the chambers. You'll have an opportunity to address the City Council under Public with Business portion of the meeting, which will occur towards the end. And when addressing the Council, I ask that you step to the podium, wait to be recognized by myself, and speak to the Council as a body and not to any single member. We will ask that you limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes. And I know that you all will, but I ask that everyone observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. So thank you again all for being here. First of all, will an alderman move the approval of the meeting minutes of the City Council for June 13th, 2018? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. Those are passed. Is there a city administrator update this evening?
One quick reminder, with the 4th of July next Wednesday, our committee of the whole meeting will be here on Tuesday. We may move the meeting up a little earlier. We do have some public hearings that need to occur at 5:30, but we may actually start the meeting earlier so that everyone can get down to Red, White, and Boom. If we make that decision, we'll make sure it gets out to all of our normal notifications as well as a big blast on social media. Thank
you very much. First of all, will an alderman approve the report of the Committee of the Whole for June 20th? So moved. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. We have a few appointments, presentations, and proclamations this evening. First, several appointments for this evening. Under Historic Preservation, we have one reappointment for Bob McGivern, and I'll go through all of these, and then we will look for an approval at that time. Secondly, Library Board of Trustees, Sylvia Roba is a reappointment, Steve Emming, reappointment, and Judith Lance, a reappointment. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, these are, actually there's some new and reappointments. First of all, Jerry Coyner, reappointment, 1st Ward. Wendy Peterson, reappointment for the 6th Ward. Richard Thomas, reappointment by myself. Maureen Lemick, reappointment by the 7th Ward. And Alex Schlew, new appointment for the 2nd Ward. Is there a motion to approve all these appointments? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Thank you there, and thank you for all your services, all those that are joining or rejoining the various commissions and boards that you are now entrusted to represent your community with. We have one proclamation this evening, and Alderman Rawson is going to lead that proclamation. No, actually, it's Alderman Madsen. Alderman Rawson is going to do something else. That's right.
I agree. It's easy to confuse us. So, probably more on my part, whether Alderman Rawson wants to. So, whereas the city of Rock Island and Davenport have been cooperative neighbors since the founding of each community in 1835 and 1836, respectively, and whereas there exists a long history of collaboration dating back to the 1850s when the two communities were connected by the first railroad bridge across the Mississippi River, and whereas Red, White, and Boom is celebrating its 14th anniversary of cooperation between these two communities, and whereas River Vision is a cooperative plan for the redevelopment of the riverfront between the two cities, and whereas the execution of said plan has brought continuous improvements and enhanced the quality of life along both riverfronts, and whereas we honor the birth of our nation, those who gave all for our great country, and those who serve today to protect our shores, and whereas Arsenal Island and the military commands located there have been a significant part of the history of both communities, and whereas our communities commemorate the Rock Island Arsenal and the Arsenal's importance to our region and nation, now therefore we, Frank Klipsch, Mayor, and the city of Davenport, Iowa, along with the city of Rock Island, congratulate the cities of Davenport and Rock Island for their improvements to the riverfront, but also to the Rock Island Arsenal on all of its past achievements and innovations, and look forward to celebrating future success, and do hereby proclaim July 3rd, 2018, Red, White, and Boom Military and Arsenal Appreciation Day. I move the proclamation.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Great. And I think Ken Crokin will be up receiving this proclamation.
Thank you very much. Very good. Good evening, and thank you. On behalf of the Red, White, and Boom Organizing Committee, I am its chairman for the past 10 years. The primary sponsors of Genesis Health System and the Riverboat Development Authority and countless other sponsors, I thank you for your support of this wonderful event that is now a Quad Cities tradition. I promise you world-class pyrotechnics on Tuesday night. They will be provided by a company called Melrose that does the fireworks at the Chicago Navy Pier. So it will be truly world-class. And I also cannot forgo the opportunity to remind all of our citizens that the use of consumer fireworks is inherently dangerous. The Product Safety Commission tells us there is no safe use, and indeed there is no safe product. No responsible adult would hand a child a bottle rocket, but they hand children sparklers with fair regularity. Sparklers burn at the same temperature as molten lava. There is no safe use. We urge everybody to remember the mayhem, and I don't think that's too strong a word, of 2017 when there was a house fire, there was one serious injury resulting in the loss of a limb, and many other minor injuries. Red, White, and Boom is the safe choice to celebrate our nation's birthday, and I encourage everyone to join us there. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. And thank you for a continued great show that we have every year. Our second presentation this evening, about now almost 2.5 years, we've been recognizing local businesses, ones that are truly the foundation of our community. And I want to recognize a longtime Davenport area business, and we'll do that as follows. Dr. H.A. Bell started his veterinary career in 1915. Dr. Bell began practice in 1936 in the Five Points area. They moved to West Locust Street location in 1941, and the practice was primarily farm animal practice at that time. I find it interesting that if you called 322-4901 in 1941, you can still call that same number today. I don't know if any of us have the same number they had in 1941, except Bell Animal Hospital, so that's great. In 1950, H.A. Bell retired, and Leroy H. Bell assumed the practice, continuing the farm animals and adding companion pets. In 1991, Leroy Bell passed away, and the practice was taken over by David L. Brown, Leroy's nephew and H.A. Bell's grandson. The practice continued as a primary pet practice, and Kyle J. Shell-Brown, David's son, and H.A. Bell's great-grandson assumed ownership in the fall of 2017. You know, our pets are a part of our families, and for over now 100 years, 4 generations of the Bell and Brown family have been serving families of Davenport and Scott County. You know, this truly is another great example of local and unique businesses that truly are the foundation of our community. So we'd like to ask the 2 Dr. Bells to come up for a moment and for this presentation.
Awesome.
So it reads, local business, the foundation of our community, recognizing the unique businesses of Davenport, Iowa, Bell Animal Hospital, June 2018.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
And we're having,
Let's get a picture. All three of us.
want to say a couple words?
This is almost as cool as when my son told me that he wanted to become a veterinarian too, and I thought, oh my God, that is really cool. And I know that my uncle and my grandfather had that same reaction when I said I'd like to do the same thing. So to have the 4th generation coming up is, for me, it's really cool. And this is awesome. I want to thank all of you. This is quite a privilege. Thank you.
Just want to say thank you to the Davenport City Council, and thank you to my dad. He's been doing it for 30 years, and he's helped thousands and thousands of animals, and I hope I can do the same job that he did.
Thank you
Thank you
very
again.
much. Thank you. You know, we've got to recognize a number of our businesses that really have generations of family that have been involved. And this is a great example, so thank both of you, and continuing work well into the many years yet to come. Our next item is any petitions or communications from the council or myself, and Alderman Dickman, as our community engagement chair, will give us our first report.
I'm actually out of things tonight, Your Honor.
Great. Anyone else? I see Alderman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to, I had the honor of this Saturday to welcome the new family for the latest Habitat of Humanity house in Davenport on Farnham Street. 2 things. Habitat for Humanity, this is their 25th year in Davenport. And, you know, we talk about revitalizing our urban areas, and they've been in our urban neighborhoods for 25 years. Most of the buildings and homes that they've erected have brought families back to that area. I also wanted to recognize the newest members of the 3rd Ward residents. This is the Meckman Veronique family. Their life journey has been very challenging. I don't think I could have survived what they have. They came across the world to America. They chose Davenport to live. They've chosen the 3rd Ward to live in with their 2 gorgeous, beautiful children. So they're, you know, part of our future. I'm gobsmacked by what their journey has been, and I'm so happy to have them in the 3rd Ward, and I just wanted to welcome them as the newest residents here and to Davenport.
Thank you, Alderman McGinnis. I don't see any other. I just want to note one thing. You know, we did pass an ordinance that allows for fireworks on the 3rd and the 4th of July. No days before, no days after. So please keep that in mind. We clarified that. You can sell fireworks, as we said, but typically it's limited to those 2 days. So we ask that you stay within those parameters. And we know there's some people that are stretching those days, but we ask that you follow the ordinance that have been established as we move forward. I think Alderman Mattson.
And just to add, not past 11 p.m.
Yes, that's the other one too. So thank you for all of that. Just make sure we're all aware of that issue. We're going to move on to individual items on a discussion agenda. Before we do that, I'm going to, Alderman Klool has asked for an opportunity to make a discussion on that first item.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, I indicated that I would be making an amendment to the motion on the overlay district in regards to the inclusion of THF properties in that motion. As council is aware, it takes a majority to approve the amendment. However, based on the fact that the motion would be contrary to the affirmation of the Plan and Zoning Committee, it would require a super majority vote on behalf of the council. Last week, when I notified the council that I was going to make that amendment, there were not a full complement of council members present. I didn't think that it would be appropriate to have the possibility of moving towards a supermajority vote without a full complement of council members present. So similarly, this week, Alderman Grip is unavailable. He had planned to be here by phone, but he's had some complications with his mother and is not able to be here. So with all fairness, I respectfully move the postponement of the overlay motion until next cycle when all council members are scheduled to be present. And that is my motion.
One cycle is what we're saying. Is there a second?
Motion to table, is that what you're
Motion to table for one cycle. Is that correct? Yeah, okay.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Alderman Ambrose, question.
Your Honor, we have people that have traveled from out of town to address this issue. I think, is this out of line, City Attorney?
Well, there's no debate on a motion to table.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So we'll do a roll call on that. Is that right? Or I think we could do a voice vote, but let's do a roll call. Roll call on the table for one cycle.
Okay. Ambrose?
no.
Condon?
Yes.
Rawson?
Yes.
Dickman?
Yes.
Mattson?
No.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Klool?
Yes.
Tompkins?
Yes.
Dunn? 7 yeses, Your Honor, 2 nays.
Okay, we will table that for one cycle, meaning we will start next week is another cycle, and it'd be next Tuesday, and then the following Wednesday would be the next cycle.
And Your Honor, if I could,
Please.
obviously at the end of the meeting, there's 5 minutes for public with business.
Right.
If the out-of-town guests would like to speak, they could do so at that time.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you. So then that has been tabled, item number 1, and the second is a second consideration for ordinance for case number REZ 18-04, request of Pheasant Creek Properties LLC to rezone 33.11 acres, more or less, of property located east of Jersey Meadows subdivision and north of East 53rd Street from A1 Agricultural District to R2 Low Density Residential District. Is there anyone from the public that would like to talk on that issue? Again, just please identify yourself and your address, please.
Good evening. I'm Adam Seitz. I'm the petitioner with Advance Homes for Pheasant Creek LLC. Just wanted to start off once again by thanking you all for your consideration of our rezoning. We are here for any questions or concerns or comments that anyone might have. Thank you.
Anyone else? Then will an alderman move the second consideration of the ordinance? It's been moved and seconded. Jackie, please call the roll.
Condon?
Yes.
Rawson?
Yes.
Dickman?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Klool?
Yes.
Tompkins?
Yes.
Dunn?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, and that ordinance will move to a third consideration. Our next item is a second consideration of ordinance for case number REZ 18-05, request of Pheasant Creek Properties LLC to rezone 7.41 acres more or less property located west of Elmore Avenue and south of Pheasant Creek from A1 Agricultural District to PDD Planned Development District. Is there anyone from the public who wants to speak on that item? Seeing none, will an alderman move the second consideration of this ordinance? It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Condon.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you. That ordinance will move to a third consideration. Our last item tonight is the second consideration of ordinance amending Schedule 8 of Chapter 10.96 entitled 30-minute parking by adding Main Street along east side of 2nd Street north to the alley. Is there anyone from the public that wants to speak on that? Seeing no one, will an alderman move the second consideration of this ordinance? It's been moved and seconded. Jackie, please call the roll.
Dickman,
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you, and the Committee of the Whole recommends suspension of the rules and passage of this on second consideration. Is there a motion for suspension of the rules? It's been moved and seconded for passage of the third consideration. Roll call, please.
Mattson,
No.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
No.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman.
Yes.
7 yeses, Your Honor, 2 nays.
Thank you very much.
So,
That will,
Well, we need 8.
you need 8. Okay.
Yeah, so that motion
Then
fails.
we will have a third consideration.
Yep.
Okay. Number 5 is the first consideration, and that is ordinance for case number ORD 18-02, amending Title 17 to incorporate a zoning component to promote and create commercial identity for the Rockingham Road corridor through design and use standards. This text amendment will include a map and a map amended for the area along Rockingham Road from John Fell Drive in the southwest and to Marquette Street to the northeast portion of the corridor. City of Davenport is the petitioner. Is there anyone from the public that wants to speak on this item? Seeing no one, will an alderman move the first consideration?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I will ask for that. Seeing none, will a clerk move, Jackie, would you please call the roll call?
Sure. McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson.
Yes.
Dickman.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, and that ordinance will move to second consideration. Our last item is a resolution approving a contract for construction management services for the Transload Rail Spur Expansion Project to Veenstra and Kim in the amount of $91,509.40. Is there any public with business on that item? With comments? No. Will an alderman move that resolution? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. Jackie, would you please call the roll?
Cluel,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson.
Yes.
Dickman.
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Okay, we're going to move on to approval of all the items on the consent agenda. Before we do that, Alderman Alderman
Your
Rawson.
Honor, if they would move and second the approval of the consent agenda first, please.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please. No roll call. Now, Alderman Rawson.
Yes, I was expecting to do that before the approval of the consent agenda. But so due to flooding, we have item number 5 under public safety, needs a second site to set up just in case LeClaire Park is not dry enough. So I'd like to make a motion to amend the verbiage there to say 400 West Beiderbecke Drive, LeClaire Park, or Harrison Street south of 2nd. Do I have a second for that?
Yep.
All in favor? Any opposed, same sign? All right, and if it's, I'm going to put it back on the consent agenda.
Right. So the amendment passes, and now it's back on consent. So, Your Honor, you're back on the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we all okay? First, we have a couple of questions here on that item. Alderman Ambrose, please.
Your Honor, I don't have a question on this. What I'd like to do is pull number 2 from finance after this is discussed further.
Okay. Is there any other, Alderman McGinnis?
Yes, and I don't know if I'm in the right order, so I apologize. I appreciate staff getting this out. I know we're dealing with changing weather patterns and festival schedules. I would like to ask about the closure at Harrison Street, south of 3rd. We have businesses down on 3rd Street that are open, and if there is any closure notice at, because this is 4 days, it's not a couple of days, it's not just a weekend. If we could, would it be possible to have a sign put there if there is a closure sign at 3rd that says businesses along Harrison to 3rd Street still open or something? They get hurt every time, and I hear from them, and I would, really not like saying that. We have 3 businesses down there on Harrison now before the alley. There used to be one, and it got hurt, the restaurant, every time. So is it possible to do that?
I'm going to ask Tom, is that actually part of the consent agenda portion, or is that something we do later?
Well, the comment should relate to something on the consent agenda.
So I'm not sure if it did. Okay. So we'll hold that thought. Alderman Mattson.
I was going to pull the same thing that Alderman Ambrose did, so I'll wait for him to do that. And
Okay.
I'll make a comment.
Now back to Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Your Honor. I asked for the city administrator to explain this and give a little bit of history and a mission statement of Quad City First.
Sure, I'll start with the mission statement. So Quad Cities First is the regional economic development provider for the whole region. Their specific focus is business attraction, and they support business retention expansion, as well as marketing efforts. The history of this item is specifically related to a council goal, in that we start to take some of these community partnerships and turn them into professional service agreements. So what's before you tonight is the contract that starts to create a more formalized relationship between the city and Quad Cities First, with appropriate metrics and deliverables that have check-in points quarterly basis with both management, the board, and our economic development staff.
I want to thank Corey and her staff for their efforts to do this. This relationship has been a little dysfunctional for 9 years, and my concern is just another layer of bureaucracy, and I won't support it, but I do appreciate the city administrator and the staff's effort. Thanks.
Thank you for those comments. Alderman Mattson, please.
Thank you, Mayor. On the same subject, I want to congratulate Ms. Spiegel and her staff. I will agree on some points that Alderman Ambrose said. We have had a concern with this for years. I've been on the council over 10, and every year they'll come and say, we have a new model, we have a new business plan, we have a new way to do things, and we keep hearing that over and over. Finally, through the efforts of Ms. Spiegel and other public entities and other folks, we are now quantifying that, and I think that's a wonderful thing. Now we can judge where our money goes and what we do. Some of the activities that have come here that are bringing huge jobs were to the effort of the folks sitting over there on the left side of at least our left side. And so now putting benchmarks and quantifying this so that we know what we're getting for our money is a huge improvement. And the accolades go to the folks over there. And I'm glad, and I said this stuff when they were here a couple weeks ago, the board folks. I'm so happy that they're part of this now. Instead of just every year, well, we got a new model, we'll do something, but now we're partnering together through benchmarks to get what we pay for. So I support this totally, and I thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I just wanted to add as well, in addition to those same comments that my colleagues have echoed related to our city administrator's efforts, I want to again compliment all of my colleagues on the dais all of the agreements that we have now with entities like this, we're putting professional service agreements in place. So we can go to you as taxpayers and say we have a clear plan of what our expectations are and the impending results that we anticipate getting. So it's an ongoing effort of our commitment to being not only transparent, but also very effective with the tax dollars we are entrusted to. So thank you all for that. I think we move forward with, we have the, yeah. Do you want to put it back on now, Alderman? Okay. Alderman Ambrose wants to put it back on. Do we need a vote on that?
No, Your Honor, you're just back to the main motion of approving the consent agenda.
Okay. Now, with all those corrections, and thank all my colleagues for those clarifications and for our city administrator and our city attorney for clarification, we're going to look now all the approval items on the consent agenda. Roll call, please.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes, except for number 2 on finance.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor, except as noted on finance item number 2.
Thank you very much. Are there any other ordinances, resolutions, and motions this evening? And we do have one.
Yes, there are, Your Honor. Due to the flooding issues, we're going to request that the council suspend the rules to add an item for a street closure, and that would be a resolution closing various streets, lanes, or public grounds on the listed dates to hold outdoor events for the Blues Festival, July 5th through 8th, 10 a.m. Thursday through Sunday, July 8th at 12 p.m. Closure location, 2nd Street from Ripley Street to the entrance to the Figgy parking lot, and Harrison Street south of 3rd Street to the entrance to the Ground Transportation Center. So we would request that the rules be suspended to add that resolution.
Do we have one of our aldermen that would make that motion?
Move to suspend.
And it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Roll call
Roll call.
suspension.
All in favor, let's hear the roll call.
Dunn,
Yes.
Ambrose, Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Are there any?
So we would need now a motion to approve that resolution in a second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please. And discussion, I think there is a question first. Alderman Ambrose.
Thank you, Your Honor. First off, Alderman McGinnis, it's incredibly important we get this message out to all those businesses down there that will be impacted by this, because it's on such a short notice. Thanks.
Thank you. I think we are all in agreement with that process, so we will work with our public works staff and other staff to make sure that the recognition of that gets identified. Thank you for bringing that up. Alderman McGinnis.
Yes, and what Alderman Ambrose said, and what I said before, which is this is what I was talking about. So if we could get some signage, I'd hate to see them hurt again. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're all in agreement with communicating adequately to our constituents and all the business around there, so we move that forward. Are there any public with business this evening would like to speak? We're going to have a roll call first. Roll call, please.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Mattson.
Yes.
Lost my track. McGinnis,
Yes.
Cluel,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Is there any public with business that would like to speak this evening? Name and address, please.
Candy Pasternak, live in the 6th Ward, work in the 3rd Ward. Obviously, we know we were here for the item that has been tabled, and we recognize and appreciate the need to take care of family matters that are important. So we understand the position that was taken. We wanted to take the opportunity, and we were going to bring up tonight that we wanted to thank you for this journey that we've been on since April 3rd. We appreciate the attention and your receptiveness to the arguments and the position that we have taken in supporting the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation as to the Elmore Corners Overlay District excluding the THF parcel from that area to be part of the district. And so since they're here this evening, and I'm not sure if they'll be able to make it to the July 11th, Robert Green, Sonny Walbrecht, and Dakota Newton were here on behalf of THF to also express their appreciation for the time and effort that this council and before you, the Planning and Zoning Commission, has undertaken in addressing our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time and effort on this and your patience as we go through this process. Are there any other public with business this evening? Thank you. Name and address, please.
Good evening, I'm Dee Brummer, and I live in north central Davenport, just off of 54th and Marquette. I had the pleasure of sitting in this room for 27 years and listening to people get up to tell their stories, and I always appreciated a good story, a heartwarming story, and so tonight I'd like to hopefully deliver. I didn't know that people got so nervous on this side of the podium. It seemed like a cakewalk from over there. In 1981, I had just finished graduate school, and I was in a job in the suburbs of Chicago and had gotten enough work experience that I could go out and look for that next career move. And so back then, in your professional journal, it came every 2 weeks in the mail, and you could see all the job openings across the country. And lo and behold, there was a job opening for a city called Davenport, Iowa. I wanted to come to a community that was large enough, that had a diverse population, that I knew that when I came to work every day, my service was not only serving those who could afford the service, but those that couldn't. I also wanted to be in a community that wasn't like me. So when I saw Davenport, Iowa, I kind of did this, because I was thinking that that next career move would be someplace that I had never experienced outside of the Midwest, and an opportunity to see another part of the country. But a couple of days later, in the mail, came the Smithsonian Magazine. And on the cover of the Smithsonian Magazine was RAGBRAI. I was passionate about bike riding. So I thought, oh my gosh, I read the article. Iowa is more than cornfields. I had only passed through it in all my previous experiences. There must be something here. So I called up the city and said, can you send me the packet of information? So I was hooked just enough to ask about what this local government might all be about. And in that packet of information, it's a long time ago, there were 16 departments. It was a large organization. There are over 1,000 employees. And one of those departments was an art gallery that had a museum collection. Hey, I started out as an art history major before I went to a political science major. I was intrigued. I was intrigued to think that owned by a city was a collection of art. And so I applied, I interviewed, and obviously you know what happened. Well, right before I retired, I had been part of the Chamber's Q2030 movement. And I am on the steering committee today. And one of the initiatives and one of the things that we're doing is trying to make sure that we retain and recruit talent. So I thought about myself. And what did it take for me to be able to come to this city and interview? Well, in March, Smithsonian Magazine, lo and behold, feature article on Grant Wood. And what painting is on the front cover? It's our Grant Wood self-portrait. And it says here, Figge Museum, collection of the city of Davenport, Iowa. The Whitney put together an exhibit, the Whitney in New York, of Grant Wood looking back, a retrospective. And I'm not going to go into it, but you know that Grant Wood not only created regionalism, but is a very diverse, liberal, different kind of artist. And we now understand him, the complexity of his life, how he lived, and what he meant to our region. I want to tell just a little diversion here. So in 1965, when the Friends of Art bought this painting for the city of Davenport and donated it, later came Nan Graham, his sister, and said, we have all of his personal artifacts, and would you like to purchase them for the city? And they said, absolutely, we want to purchase it for the city. So here's a familiar story, but we're a little bit short on cash. So they come down. Oh, there's my 5 minutes. I should quit. Just let me. Just give me.
Home.
Okay, thank you. So they came down here and asked for a little bit more from the city council, which the city council said, "Yeah, okay, we'll let this happen, and we'll give you the remainder." So in the Whitney exhibit is the most funkiest ottoman ever, and that is part of our collection. There were 283,000 people that went through this show in 12 weeks. The exposure of Iowa and the exposure of the city of Davenport was none other. So I would like to donate this book to the library because I think our citizens should have an opportunity to look at some things that have never been on public display because they're owned by private citizens that lent them to the Whitneys. So that's what I'd like to do. I want to then also thank you for giving me that extra minute to tell my story. Mayor, City Council, I appreciate what you have done for me and all the others who get to come up and talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, are there any other reports of city officials? Oh, okay.
Thank you. Bill Handel, Ward 4 in Nashville, Tennessee. Just wanted to acknowledge Dee Bremer and all the great work she has done over the years to bring the life of art to the city. And it's so important. I also have to acknowledge City Council for the support it's given over the years to the Figgy and to art in our city because overall it has such a big impact on our citizens and the many visitors that come to the city of Davenport. And what I want to talk about tonight is something I addressed earlier this year, which is our sister city of Rock Island and its current issue about the preservation of its very beautiful and well-constructed courthouse at the foot of the Centennial Bridge. The vote on that is going to be taking place 2 weeks from next Tuesday at the Rock Island Council, Rock Island County Board Chambers. It's up in the air at this point which way it's going to go. I just want to extend to the council and any of our citizens in Davenport to encourage people in Rock Island to look at what Davenport has done over the years in preserving its very vital historic architecture and construction, and what that has done for our city, and to see what can be done perhaps in Rock Island as well. If you look in the corridor here, over 30 years ago, the city of Davenport conducted an extremely extensive renovation of this building. It at that time was built the same time as the Rock Island City Hall, but this was of course 35 years ago that this renovation was done. At that time, I don't think anybody in Davenport ever considered demolishing this building to build a brand new City Hall like they're considering right now in Rock Island on its courthouse. So, pacing it out the other day, I noticed that their courthouse is very similar in plan to our City Hall. It's just that it's 4 stories instead of 3. So I think I'm going to be talking to some people in the city, and the city has given me the contacts that were around at that time, and I'm going to actually be giving that information to people in Rock Island to encourage them that it is not a lost cause to tear down that building, and they'll find that renovating that building will have a great salutary effect, not only to the building, but to its people and to its adjoining neighborhoods. So I just want to show council and other folks here at the meeting. This is a sign that you'll see in Rock Island. I see a few of these in the city of Davenport as well. Save our courthouse for us, our kids, their kids, and all the rest. And just so people, if they haven't noticed it, this is the current courthouse in Rock Island at the foot of the Centennial Bridge. It's quite prominent, but since the 50s, it's been shorn of its dome. So a couple months ago, I proposed a virtual dome that would be very inexpensive, but would create at night a glowing kind of a dome, very similar to what we experience and love on the Centennial Bridge. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Seeing none. We have some reports this evening. We have our civil service certification list. Will an alderman move the list, please? It's been moved and second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Motion to adjourn? Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Adjourned.